set up your AppInventor software, you're going to go to ai2.appinventor.mit.edu. We'll say take a survey later. To set up your AppInventor, you need to make a choice. If you have an Android phone or a tablet and a computer that are both set up on the same network, meaning that you are on a wireless network that your computer and your phone are both connected to, you might want to set up and connect on an Android device. However, if both your computer and your Android or tablet are not both on the same network, then you will want to follow these directions that I'm showing you now. We are going to set up an emulator, which will set up a telephone-like device right on your computer. Click Windows or Mac options. I'm on a Windows computer, so I'm going to select the option for Windows. You're going to install a small piece of software called the AppInventor Setup Installer. It's a very small program. Make sure that you're watching where this program is going to be downloaded. Click on Instruction 1 to download this piece of software. Notice where this piece of software is being saved. Most of the time it will be in your Downloads folder. Save that program. Once that program is saved, it will look like this. Now you'll want to click on that program and install it. Click on Run and continue and go through all of the steps until that program is installed. You'll know that software is successfully installed because you'll have this icon on your desktop. You may be asked to allow a program from an unknown publisher. You know who this publisher is because you just downloaded the program called AppInventor Setup. Click Yes to finalize this procedure. Now locate that program on your desktop. Double-click on that program and it should look like this. You'll need to start that program when we go into the AppInventor software. Click back on the AppInventor tab. You may need to click on Project or Dashboard to get to this area. It's alright if you don't have projects that are already made. You're going to need some files from the agenda for this week. Go to this week's agenda and scroll down. There are two files that you'll need. One is the kitty file and the other is the meow file. Right-click on these files and either Save Link As or Save Target As, depending on which browser you're in. Make sure you're saving these in a file or a folder that you can find later. I'm going to right-click and create a new folder for these files. So there's a kitty picture, and I'll right-click and I'll save a meow sound. Also in that same folder area that I just created. We'll need these files later. From the AppInventor, click on New Project. Give the project a name. Click on Connect to set up your emulator. Remember we had clicked on the AI Starter before we began. The emulator that acts like a cell phone on your screen is not essential to this project. If you cannot get the emulator to respond on your screen, because it's not essential to the learning of this project, don't be overly concerned that it's not working. The important part is actually creating the program. The first thing we want to do is create a button. The idea is for us to create a button that has a kitten on it and be able to click on the button and have it say meow. So let's click on the button tool and drag it over here on the screen, which is our cell phone. Imagine that this is a refrigerator. These are all of the possibilities of items in the refrigerator. This is the counter where we get all the things out of the refrigerator and put them in our counter space. Let's click on the button and look at its properties. Let's give the button a name and start good programming skills, because we might have more than one button on our cell phone screen. Let's rename it. Click on Rename, and let's call it Kitty Button, and click on OK. It is now called Kitty Button. Here on the properties, let's tell it what we want it to look like. Click on Image, and let's upload that kitten file we saved before. Click on Upload File, click on Choose File, and go to the location where you saved that file. On the screen we have text. We don't want text across the kitten's nose, so let's take out that text and just leave that blank. Let's say Fill Parent here, which will fill the size of the cell phone, and Fill Parent there, which will fill in the size of the cell phone, regardless of what size the cell phone is. Now let's put in a label that says Pet the Kitten. Over here on the palette, let's choose Label and drag and drop that under the picture of the kitten. Let's give our label a name. And again, tell our label what we want it to look like. The text for our label should say, Pet my kitten, or something like that. You can change the font size, the text color, the background color, and the alignment of the font. The height and the width. Of the text box. The next thing we want to do is bring out the sound when we click on the kitten or pet the kitten it plays a meow sound. Scroll down until you find media. Grab the sound and drag it under Pet My Kitten label. Notice that the sound is a non-visible object. Let's name the sound Meow Sound. Now this isn't the actual sound until we attach the sound to it. Let's attach the sound to it by clicking on Source and uploading the meow file. Remember, we downloaded the meow file earlier. Then click on OK. The next step is to put the building blocks together. Click on Blocks. And now we have our kitten button. What do we want to happen when we click on the kitten button? When we click on the kitten button, we want to play the meow sound. Notice how it fits right in there, and you'll hear a snap sound, just like Legos.
If your emulator or Wi-Fi connection to your cell phone is functioning correctly, you should be able to test your program by clicking on the picture of your kitten and hearing the meow sound. Don't worry if your emulator is not working, as the learning is in the process here and not in the product. I'm not concerned about the emulator, but how you created the app.
There's other things that you can do with your button as well. When you click on the kitty button, play the meow sound, then vibrate. Notice there's one warning message. That's because we have an empty socket. It's waiting to learn how long we want it to vibrate. Let's go and add some time. We'll click on Math and put 500 milliseconds in there. If your emulator or your Wi-Fi cell phone's working, you can click on your app and try petting the kitten, and it will work right on your cell phone.